Good morning and welcome to this episode of the Upsticks channel. It's run by me, Jan, my wife Jill, who's not with me today unfortunately, and also by my little cat, or our little cat Milo. He's also not with me. So I'm away for just 2 nights on my own. If you want to see a review of the campsite, which I've just left, have a look at my previous episode. I think there's probably a little link in the top right hand corner of your screen. You can click to go back to that. I'll also put a link in the description, so please do watch the last episode where I reviewed the campsite. I also wandered down into Cromford, found a bear pit, believe it or not. Saw some elephants as well. Not quite sure what they were doing here, but today I'm going to do a big circular walk. I'm going to go to Cromford Mills in a World Heritage Site. This whole area is a World Heritage Site, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I'm going to explore a little bit of the history, do a big circular walk into Cromford, have a look at Cromford Mills, walk along the canal, then walk along a disused railway line that's now a walking route up to a place called Black Rocks, and then back to the campsite. So I'm staying at Oak Hill Hotel. They've got a little campsite at the back. Like I say, watch last week's video for more info, but I'll see you very shortly. Bye bye. This is North Street, and I believe these houses were built 1776 to house workers, presumably mill workers. There's one room on the ground floor, one room on the middle floor, and the top floor with those long lines of windows were workshops of some sort. So these are pretty old buildings, and well, there still are dwellings today. So they've been lived in for a very long time, but no doubt by very different people today than they were in the 18th century. Let's see what else we can find. I'm now on the main street. I'm not quite sure what the street's called. Oh, and well, anybody who's watched a few of my videos will know that I love monkey puzzle trees. They just look prehistoric, don't they? Beautiful old trees. I'm on my way to Cromford Mills, but I'm going to do a little diversion up onto Scarthin Rock first, which is, well, I just talked to a local. She said walk up here, it's quite steep. Oh, access closed till further notice. Oh no. Okay, that's a shame. I can't go up Scarthin Rock because it's closed at the moment. So what I will do is just walk back here and round the corner. Although Cromford Mills, which is where I'm going to, is that way, I did notice this way St Mary's Church. Hello doggy. St Mary's Church, which did look very, very fine. Well, it's very fine, isn't it? But there's a big padlock on the front, so we can't get in. Okay, as I can't walk up Scarthin Rocks and I can't go in the church, I'll go to Cromford Mills. Well, these are the Cromford Mills, built by Richard Arkwright between 1771 and 1791. The birth of the factory system. There's a group of school children there, so I've got to avoid them. I don't want to get children on my video. And I think they finished spinning cotton in the 1840s. So they are very beautiful buildings. There's a cafe there. I suppose I could have a coffee while I wait for those children to disperse. But they're all very, very fine stone buildings, aren't they? Right, coffee while the kids disperse. That was a very pleasant cup of coffee. So the children have now gone into the old mills to look around. I'll just look around the outside, I think. So what Richard Arkwright, I think he was born in 1732, something like that. What he did here was develop a factory system for making the spinning cotton, which beforehand was like a little cottage industry. Oh, there's still a watermill going. It was like a little cottage industry. So what he did was find a way of spinning cotton automatically on what was called a spinning frame and linking it to water power using wheels like this, and I think he then called them water frames because he was able to link water power to the spinning frames, and it only needed semi-skilled labour, so he brought down the cost of making it, could produce vast quantities of it, and he really simplified and made cheaper a way of making large quantities of spun cotton, and no doubt he made a lot of money from it. I don't know how much, I might try and find out. Well, it's lovely to see all the old waterways around here and the sluice gates and things. It's beautiful, isn't it? Very interesting. Well, it's very, very picturesque here. The rope drive, I'll have a look at that in a minute, but let's see where this water goes. Obviously some of it goes down there, no doubt, to power the wheel for that mill. And this powered a different mill, I'm guessing. So this is actually the newest water wheel at Cromford Mills. So what's it used for? Okay, looks like they use the power from this wheel, hydroelectric power, to power the site. And it certainly looks modern technology with all these valves and electric controls for the sluice gates and things like that. Now I'd love to go in, however, as Jill isn't with me, I'm not going to go in and look around the mill. They do have guided tours, things like that. So I'm going to leave that for a look around the outside of the building, and no doubt I'll come back again one day with Jill, probably Milo staying in the van, and do a more in-depth exploration. But right now I'm going to get to the end of the canal, which is not far away. Before we go and have a look at the canal, I'll just show you these remains. It's the remains of a 15th century chapel, and apparently it was here next to the river, next to a bridge. I don't know how old the bridge is, that's probably newer than 15th century, but the chapel was used by people who'd travelled a long way to Cromford, and they would go in the chapel to give thanks for a safe crossing of the river and a safe journey, presumably in the days when travel was a lot more hazardous than it is today. So that's all that's left, but you can see it came right the way back to here. Most of the walls have gone, but the bit against the bridge is still there. I doubt anybody crossing that bridge today stops to say thanks for a safe journey. And the other notable thing here, again, this is all right next to the canal, I bet not many people come to see that, is a car park which is tolerated, it's at least tolerated for stopping overnight. And you can see one big A-class motorhome here and another van, big big motorhome. Let's go and have a look at the payment options. Well, it's quite cheap, £6 all day, 7 days a week using the Ringo app. I did speak to somebody yesterday who said he's stopping in a van here, and he said that the all day parking finishes at midnight, so he wasn't sure whether he has to get up at midnight to pay for the next 12 hours, 24 hours rather, or, well, exactly how he managed to pay for a couple of nights, I don't know. I think he said it's possible on the Ringo app to pay for 72 hours all in one go, which presumably would be £18. You've just got to be careful with these that are ANPR controlled, like this one is, that you don't overstay by a minute and get a £100 fine or £60 fine if you pay it quickly. Right, let's get to that canal. Is that your dear wife who does all this lovely artwork?
Yeah, she spends her life painting.
Does she? Can I'll just film a few because they are very pretty.
She spends her life painting.
Does she?
Well, what happened was 28 years ago, we bought a narrowboat, a shell, and we couldn't afford to have a bucket can on the top. And she said, "Oh, I've got a painting one," and she got a video how to do it. And then 28 years later, she's still
doing it.
Yeah. Well, people started saying to her, "Will you do something for me? Will you do something?"
Yes, yeah. It's very traditional style, isn't it? Has it got a name?
Roses and Castles.
Roses and Castles.
Yeah.
Is your name Rose?
No, should be.
Should be Rose Castle, shouldn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yes, it just looks so traditional, doesn't it?
Well, that's it. They call it Roses and Castles. If you look at the boat over there...
I'll have a look at the boat in a moment, yeah.
It's got castles on it.
Right.
We don't do the castles very often.
You focus on the roses.
People are not canal people, so they don't really know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're very beautiful. I'm going to have a look at the boat.
That's a bucket can. That's the traditional can they have on top of a boat.
Yes. Why? I suppose they all needed a can for water, did they? And they just
in the old days,
took to decorating it.
In that little cabin at the back,
yeah.
You'd have a couple and 8 children, all that sort. The only source of water was to
keep in the can on the top, and then
it's debatable whether we call them bucket cans, but the traditionalists say, "Oh, they're not bucket cans; they're water carriers."
Just water carrier. Okay, well,
we're not ready.
Well, those are fridge magnets. Okay, I'm going to look at the boat. Thanks ever so much. Well, this is such a peaceful canal because it's not open to normal canal traffic. I think the boats at the end that you can have a tourist trip on, I'm pretty sure they're electric, so even when one of those goes by, it probably just purrs along. And I'm sure everybody who's watching knows that these towpaths were originally used by horses, because all the canal boats would have been horse-drawn to take materials to Cromford and presumably cotton from Cromford. It's hard to say. You try saying that. From Cromford to be distributed certainly around Britain, possibly around the empire or the world or something. I don't know. But so this would have been a very important route for goods traffic, unlike today when it's 99.9% leisure traffic. Uh-oh, ducks. And anybody who knows me, oh no, duck, 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 or should I say duck, duck, duckling, duckling. How beautiful are they? The trouble is, anybody who's seen some of my previous videos will know that if I see a duck and I say duck, every time I say duck I have to put a quack, and I even have to put a quack when I say quack. So I don't really like seeing too many ducks, because then it takes me ages to edit all the little quacks in, as you are now finding out. So this will have taken me 10 minutes just to put the right number of ducks in the right place. Oh, sorry, I said duck again. The right number of quacks in the right place. Oh, if only they were geese. Never mind. Perhaps I won't see any more ducks now. I just heard a quack. Oh, this looks interesting. I just had a chat with a local on the towpath. He said, if I come back to here, it's the High Peak Junction, so I'm going to come back to here and pick up the High Peak Trail to Black Rocks. But right here, he said, if I go straight on, there's an old cottage and a pump house that's worth going to see, so I'm going to do that. What have we got here though? No horses. Well, railway bridge. A train did just go by, but I didn't see what it was. I was chatting to that guy. So what he recommended is to keep going down the towpath for another kilometre, mile, towards Ambergate, and then I can go to Middleton Top. So I'm going to go down here and see what I find, and on the way back, oh, there's a railway carriage, I will explore that little area, which is an old railway junction. And I shall also have a look at that bridge, which looks like it's either looks like a swing bridge. I was going to say it's one of those bridges that lifts, but if it was, it would have a big structure on top and some counterweight, so I think it just swings out the way if a boat comes by. Well, this is the first point of interest. This is I think it's called the Leawood Pump House, built by, I don't know when it was built actually, I think not till the 19th century, but it was used to pump water up into the canal when there was a shortage. So I think it's something like 1845 it was built, 1850 commissioned, something like that. And I believe that it is still occasionally operated today. So although it was built, well, it says 1849 on that sign, so although it was sort of operating in 1849, they can still occasionally power it up and it still pumps water. So it's not just in these days that we get water shortages.
You were fishing then?
I am fishing.
Oh, you were fishing, I thought you're not catch out over there.
Hiya. This looks like a nice canal to do that on.
Yeah.
Oh, perhaps not. I don't know.
Well, that's what we're finding out. So, according to everything we've read, you can get another 2 miles.
Okay.
Guys,
Looks a bit weeded up though, doesn't it? That there.
Yeah, that you can only do this.
Oh,
bit.
okay. I know it's an SSSI, isn't it? There may be certain restrictions. I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you come from Cromford? Yeah. Well, nice to hear. Anyway.
See you later.
See you. So this cottage is known as Aquaduct Cottage. There's well, that's a strange lock because it's all blocked off, so I don't quite know how that works. Perhaps it used to be a lock in the past. Let's have a little look. was originally built as a lockkeeper's cottage. Now it's used by artists in residence. Looks like somebody here coming with some canvas, I don't know. Hello. Hi. You alright? But I'm going to walk back on the other side of the canal and then walk up that old railway line. So let's see what I find. This is High Peak Junction, one of the buildings. I like the humour there. No trains until further notice, 3rd of April 1967. Ha ha ha. So we have lots of railway paraphernalia. Apart from those fire buckets, I don't know what most of these things are. Well, there's a gradient sign, which is no doubt taken down from the railway line somewhere. Lots of different tools and pliers and an anvil and a smithy's forge, I'm guessing. Big anvil, 2 big anvils. Lots of spanners, and it's got a lovely oily sort of workshop smell. Very, very evocative, because I did used to work for British Rail in the very, very late 70s and through the 80s and just into the 90s till they were privatised. I don't know how far we can go. Oh, railway lamps. Those are all original Cromford and High Peak railway lamps. Well, I'm going to walk up the High Peak Trail, which is where the trains used to go, so I'm going to go out and do that now. I'm going to walk up this trail here. So far I've walked about 6.5 kilometres, just to give you a, oh there we go, Black Rocks 1.25. That's where I'm heading, so I hope there's a sign up there, because I think it's off an official public footpath. The old red wagons and an old water tank which they would have filled steam engines, and this is quite a steep climb up for a steam engine, so I bet they sounded fantastic when they were going up this incline. Just as I was wondering how on earth trains got up and down this hill, this explains it. There was actually a continuous chain going round in a circle, and wagons would be attached to one side of the chain to go down, the other side of the chain to go up. And it was a steam-powered beam engine that drove the endless chain. So it wasn't steam engines, because that was steep. I'm puffing and panting a bit. But that explains it. Well, I think it's time to walk the rest of the way up. Fascinating. So this is halfway up, halfway down. It says eventually the chains were replaced by wires, which were far more efficient, and rather than having 2 separate chains, one up the hill there, one down the hill there, with wires, they were able to join it together into one huge continuous loop. So that is one of the longest, steepest inclines that I've ever walked along in one go. especially on a railway. They're typically, you know, at the steepest, I don't know, 1 in 200. That must have been 1 in 20. Very, very steep for a railway. But now we know how they did it, don't we? And I'm guessing this building is an old engine house that powered the chains, perhaps. I can't think what else it would be. It's not a church, is it? What does it say it is? Aha! It does tell us what it is. Let's have a look. Sheep Pasture engine house. Yes. So, built 1828, wagons were hauled up and down the incline 1,320 yards long by an engine in this building till it closed in 67. Well, I was 8 years old when it closed. Can't believe this was operating while I was alive. Shall I have a look inside? I think we got her. It's not obvious what was where, but I guess the machinery was, the steam engine, etc. was supported on these big steel girders. Yeah, not much to indicate what was in here. And it looks like we should get some spectacular views. I'm still yet to find black rocks. I was told by some cyclists coming up that if I find a car park and that is some view, isn't it? That is some view. Apart from the quarry on the left, it's very, very pretty. So that's Cromford nestling in the valley down there, in the Derwent Valley. And in the next episode of this little series from Cromford, I shall be walking upstream to Matlock Bath, past Masson Mill, I think. Yes, this is called Sheep Pasture Top. And what I will try and do, because some vloggers are very clever, they put little maps on screen and they do a little line of where they've walked. I'm going to try and do that. But I suspect I should probably end up getting a map and putting my finger on it and going, this is the way I went, because I don't know how to do it on electronics yet. But however I do it, I will superimpose it as I walk along this windy top to show my route from Cromford down to that pretty little cottage on Cromford Canal. That's after, of course, I'd passed Cromford Mills. Then up this railway to the top here, Black Rocks, and then back into Cromford. So hopefully I can do all that on a map, finger or little red line or something. Can't wait to give it a go. back at the campsite, so I'm going to wrap the video up here. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe too. If you have any comments, please drop them in the comments box, and I will see you for next week's episode when I go to Matlock Bath in the other direction that I went today. So I'll see you then.